Tori, I'm like, listen, I'm not backing down. I was like, do not back down on me. Do not be afraid of hurting me because I'm like, I'm going to fight. I'm like, you better fight too. I'm like, we both want to be here. Like, let's just do it. You know, like, let's give them the show that they wanted. Vet versus vet, champ versus champ. Like, let's just do it.
Let's start right with that elimination there. Jonna,
Mm-hmm.
you received 5 votes. Did you have any idea that you were
No,
so many?
dude, I had no idea I was gonna get 5 votes. It's so funny. The first elimination when we were there, I was like telling people, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's voting for me. I was so paranoid. 0 votes. Second one, 5. I was shocked. I knew something was coming, but I did not think it was gonna be that many. And the Survivor people, whoever voted for me, they played it off so well because I really got, I guess as survivors would say, I really got blindsided. Like I knew that I would probably, get some votes or whatever. I had no idea that they were that united.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Like, did you have any idea beforehand? Like, what were those conversations like? Like, did you?
No, well, so that's the thing. It was funny because Corey was my roommate, right? And he said to me, I was just sitting there and I was like packing up my stuff because we all have to pack every time if your team doesn't win. And I was just like, man, I haven't really talked to anybody today. And he's like, Jonna, you better go have those conversations. He's like, every single time I'm sitting at home, I always think I should have had those conversations. I was like, yeah. I'm like, today feels really weird. I'm like, I haven't really talked to anybody. That should have been my first sign that something was happening.
Yeah, and then you did end up in that elimination versus
Mm-hmm.
Tori, and that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the more intense ones that I feel like I've seen you in. So,
Mm-hmm.
what was that like for you to
Oh,
be
yeah.
in?
Well, I'm just going to be straight up honest. Physical eliminations, not my thing.
Don't blame
So
you.
normally we don't know, until we get there, like what it is or, but we do have somewhat of an idea of like who's possibly going in. This one, we have no idea what it is. We have no idea who's going in. We really had no clue of anything that was happening. I will say I obviously do better at anything endurance based, anything mind over matter. I loved All Stars because they had like the puzzle equalizer things. That is my game. I know for a viewer, it's not as exciting as like the hall brawls, balls in, but I love it because I'm just like, yes, and now I have a equal chance. So when I walk in and it's balls in and it's like my opponent is literally, she's such a beast. She is a champ for a reason. Like she is hardcore and a badass. So if I could like look at the lineup and pick who I wanted to do balls in against, Tori would be at the bottom of the list. So just my luck though. I'm so
Right.
lucky that the Hopper chose me and I got Tori. So
I know. Oh my God. But you put up an amazing fight too, because I would have been like, I'm out of here. Like, let's just call it. Like,
I know I was telling someone earlier, I was like, if it was hall brawl, it would have been like this. I'd gone like this. No. Yeah, I did put up a fight. I was telling someone too. So right before, like, Tori looks at me and I could just see on her face, she's just like, oh no. She's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, Tori, I'm like, listen, I'm not backing down. I was like, do not back down on me. Do not be afraid of hurting me because I'm like, I'm going to fight. I'm like, you better fight too. I'm like, we both want to be here. Like, let's just do it. Like, let's give them the show that they wanted. Vet versus vet, champ versus champ. Like, let's just do it.
yeah.
So
And it was
I
great to
will.
watch, but I felt for you because I was like, oh my God. Because I do love the puzzle eliminations too, like watching them
Yeah.
because I'm a puzzle girl. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's funny. I going into it, I always just get in the mindset like I'm gonna give it all I have, whatever. So while we're going at it, the only chance that I stood is like, so if it were like her and I, competing and no one else was there, I feel like I would have had a better shot. And the reason why I say that is because so everybody's standing behind us. Everybody wanted Tori to go home. Everybody was rooting for me to win. So I think they were trying to help and be like, silver ball, black ball, like, to be like, oh, a silver one's next. But in doing so and trying to help me, like, I think that, they're like, Johnny, silver ball. Then Tori hears silver ball, like, and then just goes for it. So the only chance I would have stood is if, like, we both didn't know which ball was falling next because we were both
Mhm.
tired. We were both giving it our all. We were both covered in sand, sweat. like the only chance I would have had would be to, get more of the silver balls.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at it, like if you look at the balls at the end, yes, she had more silver. She had obviously a lot more points than I did, but I think the ball count was pretty even. She
Okay.
just had more silver, so, but it is what it is. That was not my elimination. Let's be honest. I mean, if we look at our elimination records side by side, I think mine's like 2 and like 7 or like eliminations I'm bad at. So.
Oh gosh, no. And
that is why I do everything that I can strategically to navigate staying out of elimination as much as possible. And that's part of my gameplay. But then when TJ throws in a hopper, like, what am I going to do?
I know. Oh my gosh. You were just like oh my God, it was crazy. But, in the hypothetical situation that you were to win that elimination, I wanted to know, like, what would your game plan have been after? Would you have defected to another team?
Yes.
Oh, you would?
I love that. I love that question because had I won that elimination, I would have defected to blue.
Oh, and taken whose spot?
Because of the people that I had started to get aligned with. Now, I wouldn't have taken Tori's spot. I would have taken probably one of the Alyssas. Like I would have either Alyssa L or Alyssa S. I would have wanted to stay on a team with Tori and Cassidy. And then, so all the guys on the blue team were actually my roommates. I was in a room with Corey, Chris, and Fessy. So like I was already kind of playing with them, like in the game. And to me, as far as like where my assets go and daily challenges, I feel like that's where I would fit in best.
Mm-hmm.
I have the mental strategic side of it. I feel like I needed like some of the big, strong players, and that would have been the team for me.
Mm-hmm. So you would have jumped ship from Team Red Flag
immediately. And another reason why I would have jumped ship is because, so if you look at it in the nomination process, right, there's 6 rookies versus 2 vets in the nominations, right? Because there's 8 people on each team. Each team has 1 male, 1 female vet. So I was already fighting an uphill battle as far as like nominations, all that stuff goes. So the only way to better my game would have been to move to a team where there were more vets. So in that nomination process, there would be 3 voices, like if you see what happened with the green team nomination, Wes tried.
Yeah,
he did. And I am so thankful for that because he actually did try to have my back, but he was just outnumbered. And so that was the case for all of us in every single team. We were outnumbered at the beginning 6-2. No matter what we say to try to protect vets or protect ourselves, the other 6 people, the other 18 people in the game, the one thing they have in common is getting us out. So the only way to change that is by moving teams.
Right. And were there any conversations like with the 6 vets and trying to like pull some other people to your side, like an alliance going on there with picking up?
So, immediately when we move in the house, right, we're just like, I mean, I would say I talked to Tori a lot more than probably Amanda or other people. But her and I were just like, what are we going to do? They all hate us. Like, what are we going to do, dude? So her and I did talk and she was just like, hey, my team is mainly survivor people. I'm going to like keep an ear, work with the survivor people. And I was like, that's great because some of the people that I'm aligning with are big on the big brother side. Maybe I can align on this side, you can align on this side, and then we can kind of help each other in the middle. The thing is I forgot to tell the big brother people that because for me, I like straight up, as soon as I learned the rules and everything of the game, from day one, I knew like everyone's playing differently, right? At the beginning, we're set up with, we're on 3 teams. So some people are like team red, team blue till the end, whatever. Because of my experience as a vet, I know that that's not what's going on, that there's one guy, one girl winner. At some point, it's going to be individual. So then my head starts spinning and I'm like, oh my gosh, you look at a player, like, do they care about the teams? Do they care about Big Brother versus Survivor? Do they care about individual? I was all over the place. And me voting Michelle in was basically my big move to try to better myself in the game. I broke it down literally by each player. And I was like, the only chance I stand with this secret vote, how can I use this to help me? The only way I can use it to help me is by voting her in. And it was based on people that we were aligned with and our assets to our team, all the different things. I knew from the jump that the Survivor players were going to be a very strong force in the game. And I was like, the only chance I have, with to help myself with voting is if I could somehow disband the Survivor team and they're not all so closely working together, then I stand a better chance being aligned with Big Brother people. Mm-hmm. And so that was my thought. I looked at, there were 7 survivors in the game. There were 9 Big Brother people. Michelle's the only one who won her Survivor season. Mm-hmm. I know that she plays a great social game, but I also know mentally her and I are on the same level of like strategy, right? And I just knew that further along down the road that she was going to be a problem for me. Not as a person. I love her to death. Like she's one of my no. We hung out this past weekend. Like we talked about it. We're like, where did we go wrong? But I just knew in that moment that like down the road, if I could somehow make a crack in this strong, silent Survivor alliance, that would be the only thing that could possibly help me with my vote. So that's why I voted Michelle.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was going to ask, and because that puts a little bit more of a spin on it than what we got to see in the edit. It seemed that you were like, Wes told me she's works in an emotional way, and so
so well, that was my thing, is like I'm basically trolling Wes right now, and just just trying to piss him off basically, and I'm just gonna blame everything on Wes from here on out, which drives him nuts because he's like, well, Jonna, that's not what I actually said, and I'm like, whatever. But that's what's crazy about when you do go home so early, and sometimes in interviews, like for the viewer, sometimes things like my gameplay, my strategy doesn't get explained because I am in my head so much, and things don't play out unless you're there for a long time and you have the chance to then use that information and explain it to other people. So my part of the story wasn't really, told. All that everybody sees is like, why would you vote in your own teammate? Right. But there's a long list of reasons why I voted for Michelle. But
so you don't regret that decision to vote her. So you don't regret that decision to vote her in, especially since she was one of the players that kind of voted you into the elimination, like almost an immediate.
So here's the thing. The reason I regret it, like now that I personally know Michelle, and I know that in the future, her and I definitely can work together because we get each other. But the reason why I don't regret it, even though it didn't have the outcome that I wanted, I knew my back was against the wall from the jump. The target was so huge on me that, this whole game is based on risk. I had to take a risk in order to better myself, because otherwise I was going in every single time. There was no way around it. Like when the majority of the house, like let's say 18 people, all have the same common goal, and there's only 6 of you to fight that. And really there's only like 3 because 2 of them hate each other, I knew that I was going to have to take big risky moves that probably didn't make sense to other people and other people's games. I wasn't going to be able to get other people on board with the same thing because I'm playing my game and it made sense to me at the time. So I don't regret it. Now, if I got put in the exact same position again, I maybe would have waited till episode 6 would have been cool. To get Michelle out. Like episode 1 coming in hot was not the move. But then again, there's so many unknowns. Like when I put her name in the hopper, right? I was like, TJ said, this is a secret vote. I didn't think that they were going to bring a Jumbotron to elimination.
Always TJ with these twists, throwing a wrench in there.
Right. So it's like I was doing the best with what I had at the moment. But next time I think maybe I'll just lay low a little bit, not be so paranoid, not be so freaked out. The first vote, I didn't get any votes. I should have just stayed where I was. I should have just not done anything and then just waited to see how things play out. I think that honestly, my elimination, they people wanted to get Tori out, because she was the reigning champ, whatever. Everybody was cheering for me. Everybody was trying to help me out and stuff. They wanted her out, but I just indirectly, because, Amanda's team won, I was the other option. They didn't care which vet it was. They just wanted one vet out, so.
Thank you so much, Jonna, for taking the time with me and explaining your game, because I think this will give people a different perspective of what
more insight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to.